I did the OJ trial for CBS.
Oh, wow.
And so I was at Camp OJ.
You were there, huh?
It was a year of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. And as you know. But those first couple of minutes of your show, I was having flashbacks.
Me too. Me too.
Was that hard for you? Obviously, it's intentional.
Yeah.
But how difficult was that for you?
Yeah. So we wanted to set the table in a way that would immediately tell the audience, this is where we are and this is who we are. And it would be a recognizable thing, which is something we intend to do in every season. We are going to have recognizable people that are taken in very different directions than the real world took them. It was tough. It was tough writing. When the three of us were writing that pilot, it was a hard thing to write. Seeing it shot was even worse in terms of the reality of it. Very tough. And then watching it after it was shot, very hard. The gauntlet with all the crowds and the yelling and the screaming and the signs and the intensity of that was much more real than I would have hoped it to be. Hard to watch the not guilty verdict. Yeah. Very hard to watch the verdict. But then, fortunately, right after that, we're in fiction world. We go into a whole different thing, and Maya's living on this beautiful horse farm. Talk about, now that's my fantasy. And everything else is fiction from there.
Yeah. I think people would wonder why you wanted to go back there.
Well, I don't. And that's why we didn't. I mean, we did enough. We did just enough to set the table and then went to a completely different place. Because, being able to write about a high-profile murder case and not go to court, because this is definitely not a courtroom show at all. We show everything that goes on behind the scenes, all the maneuvering and the strategies and the personal things that go on for each of the sides. Sevi with his family, Maya with her relationships. Everybody has something going on outside the courtroom, and the case affects all of that. And so all the twists and turns that happen behind the scenes when there are no cameras, that's what I wanted to write about. That's what we had so much fun doing, and that's the whole point of the show.
So you're telling me this is going to be very different, and people will probably leave that behind.
Oh, yeah. They won't have a choice
Right.
because Maya's a completely fictional character.
Right.
She's not me. And Sevi is certainly not Simpson. So you're going to have a completely new
Right.
feeling, and yet, the feeling I hope conveyed of being behind the scenes, you get some real stuff there. I mean, I do talk about that from a personal experience, of course, what really happens and how both sides try to use the media to their own advantage to spin public opinion, that sort of thing. And every episode is going to leave you with a cliffhanger. It's a roller coaster, really, of a show. Lots of ups and downs. The characters are going to do things you don't expect, and hopefully you will not guess who really did it until the very end when we tell you. But we will tell you. We will answer all questions in the 10th and the last episode and move on to a new case in Season 2.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you already have Season 2 plotted out in your mind, or even way beyond your mind, I guess?
Yeah, we've already talked about that. We have an idea for Season 2. It will be a new case.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess once I get past the first episode, which obviously I haven't, then maybe I can leave it behind. But it was just really, it was very tough to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Very tough to watch.
Yeah.
And then this idea when you say that Maya isn't you, Robin Tunney's character, she's not you, but at the same time, when I'm watching that show, I feel like I'm watching your story.
That's interesting. Well, I think you're going to feel differently pretty soon.
Good.
Because, nobody really knew what was happening behind the scenes for me either. And that's to me what's always the mystery that doesn't get shown in these courtroom legal dramas. You always see what happens in court, or you see them interviewing witnesses on the street, but you don't see them go home. You don't see what their personal lives are like. That's where we live, is in that space where you don't usually go.